Episode 366, How to Label AI-Generated Content, EU Commission Guidelines.
The primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI 6 podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
The European Commission has published the second draft of its Code of Practice on labelling AI-generated content, and the rules become applicable on the 2nd of August this year. If you work in comms, if you run a business, if you publish anything to the public with AI in the workflow, you have about 15 weeks to get ready. Hello and welcome back to AI 6. I'm on a mission to upskill 500,000 people in 6 minutes a day. And today I'm taking you inside a document most of your competitors haven't heard of yet. It's the EU's second draft Code of Practice on transparency of AI-generated content. It runs to 36 pages, and I'm going to pull out what you need to know. On the 5th of March, the Commission published the second draft of the code. It's a voluntary framework that helps providers and deployers of generative AI comply with Article 50 of the EU AI Act. Stakeholder feedback closed on the 30th of March. The final code is expected by the beginning of June, and the transparency rules themselves become applicable on the 2nd of August this year. The second draft was shaped by hundreds of participants from industry, academia, civil society, and member states. The chairs have streamlined it significantly since the first draft. Measures have also been consolidated. Some obligations have been made optional, but the goal, in the chair's own words, is a practical, proportionate and useful tool for providers and deployers of all sizes. The code has 2 sections. Section 1 is aimed at providers of generative AI systems, so OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, Meta, and their job is to embed machine-readable markers into AI outputs using a 2-layered approach of secured metadata and watermarking. That's technical, happening upstream. And most of you are not building a foundation model, so this section is not your problem. But Section 2 is. It applies to deployers, which in plain English is your organisation using AI in your professional work. Section 2 covers 2 categories of content. Deep fakes, which the Act defines as AI-generated or manipulated image, audio or video that appreciably resembles real people, places or events. And AI-generated text that is published to inform the public on matters of public interest. If you produce either, the disclosure obligation applies to you. For AI-generated text on matters of public interest, there is a full exemption from the disclosure obligation when 2 conditions are met. The content has undergone human review of editorial control, and a named natural or legal person holds editorial responsibility for the publication. So if you have an editor, if you have a sign-off process, if there is a person with their name attached to the decision to publish, you do not have to disclose. The code is essentially saying, if you are doing your journalism properly, carry on. The code is also specific about what a label looks like. The main visual element is the capitalized acronym AI. That's it. You can add short text alongside it, like generated with AI or made by AI or manipulated by AI. The Commission has put draft icons in the appendix, and a task force is being set up to finalise a free, EU-wide icon that anyone can use. You don't have to use the EU icon, but whatever you use has to meet the design rules. For creative, artistic, satirical or fictional work, the code is much lighter. You have to disclose that AI was used, but in a way that doesn't hamper the enjoyment of the work. A line in the opening credits, a note in the gallery, something like that will suffice. And here's what I want you to take away. I've been reading a lot of commentary this week suggesting labelling is a silver bullet. It isn't. A peer-reviewed study from Stanford published in PNAS Nexus in February tested more than 1,500 people and found that authorship labels didn't change how persuasive AI-generated messages were. So a label on its own doesn't protect your audience. What does protect your audience is the thing the code itself carves out: human review, editorial responsibility, a person whose name is on the decision. And that's the whole point. The European Commission is telling you that labels matter and that having a human with editorial judgment matters more. So this is the governance work that you need to include when using artificial intelligence. That's it for today's show. If you're ready to turn these insights into skills, here's how I can help. Get your copy of my book, AI Playbook, on Amazon. It's the perfect companion to the show. For weekly AI strategy, subscribe to my newsletter, Human in the Loop, on LinkedIn. Or if you want to take the next big step, you can take our CPD accredited professional diploma in AI. Maybe you need something more tailored for your organisation. You can book a call in my calendar at digitaltraining.ie. Or if you work in government or public sector, go over to publicsectormarketingpros.com. If you found this episode useful, please share it with a pro that you know. And I'd love to read your comments on Spotify. And if you can, take a second to like, rate, or subscribe wherever you listen. It really helps the show. This is AI6. I'll talk to you on the next episode.